You probably should not buy every indicator first. Start with the part of your workflow that is currently weakest. That is the cleanest way to think about the Sigmalith catalog. Each indicator is built for a different decision point. Regime detector is for market state. Trend day radar is for session bias. Adaptive trendline is for trend structure. Velocity MACD is for momentum context. And adaptive squeeze is for volatility compression and expansion. In this video, we will walk through each one and build a simple decision framework for choosing where to start. This is not financial advice, and it is not a recommendation that any specific trader needs any specific indicator. The goal is simpler than that. Match the tool to the decision problem. Before looking at any indicator, ask one question. What decision am I trying to improve? If you cannot answer that, adding another tool usually makes the chart busier, not better. A useful indicator should earn its place by answering a specific question. Not 5 questions, not every question, one clear question. For Sigmalith, the 5 core questions are: what kind of market are we in? What is the session bias? Is trend structure clear? Is momentum confirming or fading? And is volatility compressing or expanding? Once you know which question causes the most confusion in your workflow, choosing the first indicator becomes much easier. Consider starting with regime detector if your biggest issue is market state. Some traders apply the same playbook in every condition. They treat a sideways market like a trending market. They press directional ideas when the broader environment is unstable. Or they judge a setup before asking whether the market state supports that type of decision. Regime detector is designed to help organize bull, bear, and sideways probability context. It is the broadest context layer in the Sigmalith workflow. It does not tell you what to buy or sell. It does not make the trade decision. It helps you frame the environment before you judge the next layer. If you often feel like your strategy behaves very differently across market conditions, but you do not have a clean way to classify those conditions, regime detector may be the first indicator to review. Consider starting with trend day radar if your biggest issue is the trading session itself. This is especially relevant for intraday traders. Some sessions develop with cleaner directional pressure. Some become choppy. Some start directional, but later carry more reversal risk. Trend day radar is designed to help organize session bias, trend pressure, chop, and reversal risk context as the day develops. It is not a buy or sell button. It is a session reading tool. If you often overtrade chop, force trades on the wrong type of day, or need a compact way to read session behavior, trend day radar may be the first indicator to review. It can also make sense if you want one primary intraday dashboard before building a larger stack. Consider starting with adaptive trendline if your biggest issue is directional structure. Many traders already use moving averages, trend lines, or price structure rules. The problem is that generic trend filters can lag too much, flip too often, or fail to separate real structure from noise. Adaptive trendline is designed as the trend structure layer in the Sigmalith workflow. It helps frame directional behavior, pullback context, and state changes. It is useful when the main question is this move still structurally intact? Or is the market beginning to change state? If you often enter against the actual structure, react too quickly to small pullbacks, or struggle to define trend state consistently, adaptive trendline may be the first indicator to review. Consider starting with velocity MACD if your biggest issue is momentum confirmation. Sometimes price keeps moving, but momentum is already fading. Sometimes a trend structure looks fine, but the move no longer has the same energy. and sometimes a trader enters late because the momentum phase has already done most of its work. Velocity MACD is designed to help read acceleration, continuation context, and momentum fade. It works well as a confirmation layer beside a trend tool, but it can also be reviewed on its own if your workflow already has trend structure covered. The key is not to treat momentum as certainty. Momentum context is still context. It can help you notice whether the move is strengthening, weakening, or becoming less clean. If you often enter when momentum is already fading, velocity MACD may be the first indicator to review. Consider starting with adaptive squeeze if your biggest issue is volatility timing. Breakout traders often care about compression and expansion, but a squeeze by itself is not an entry. Compression can release cleanly. It can fail. It can expand in the wrong context. Or it can appear during a messy range where follow-through is unreliable. Adaptive squeeze is designed to help study volatility, compression, expansion, and build-up context. It is the volatility layer in the Sigmalith workflow. It pairs naturally with trend and momentum context because expansion is more useful when you understand the environment around it. If you often chase breakouts late, misread compressed conditions, or want a cleaner way to study volatility buildup, adaptive squeeze may be the first indicator to review. Here is the simple framework. If you overtrade chop, start by reviewing regime detector or trend day radar. If you need to classify the full session, review trend day radar. If you enter against structure, review adaptive trend line. If you enter when momentum is already fading, review velocity MACD. If you chase breakouts or struggle with compression and expansion, review adaptive squeeze. And if you are not sure, do not start with the full stack. Start with the one question that causes the most confusion. Then use chart replay, historical review, or your own journal to decide whether that tool actually improves your process. Only add a second indicator when it answers a different question. Once the first tool earns its place, you can build slowly. For example, a trader focused on market state and direction might pair regime detector with adaptive trend line. An intraday trader focused on session behavior and confirmation might pair trend day radar with velocity MACD. A trader focused on breakout context might pair adaptive trend line with adaptive squeeze. Those are examples, not recommendations. The important rule is that each tool should have a separate job. If two indicators are telling you the same thing, the chart may look more sophisticated, but the decision may not be any clearer. The best stack is not the biggest stack. It is the one where every indicator has a reason to be there. So which Sigmalith indicator should you start with? Start with the decision point that needs the most clarity: market state, session bias, trend structure, momentum context, or volatility expansion. You can compare the full catalog at sigmalith.com/product. Review the chart examples, read the indicator roles, and choose the tool that matches the problem you actually want to solve. Thanks for watching. And remember, this video is for software demonstration and educational purposes only. It is not financial advice, and no indicator guarantees future results.